You know, could it be that we've got a bright spot here?
Yeah.
That would be
housing.
Yes, I think so.
I think we do. I mean, we've got very low mortgage rates, very strong rate of sales for new homes, existing homes, not that bad. Look, we're concentrating on the market and the virus and a little bit about last night's debate. But if we can find a bright spot, we're going to bring it to you. And I think housing is the bright spot. Let's see if an economist agrees with us. Let's see if David Dietze is not going to say, on the one hand this and on the other hand that. How many hands does an economist have, by the way? Housing a bright spot, is it?
Absolutely. Well, it's interest rates. Interest rates have come down dramatically. I mean, I was just looking in the green room a minute ago that the interest rate on the 30-year Treasury has come down by about a quarter. And I'm thinking, wow, you're going to take a quarter less interest and lock in for the next 30 years? Is that an overreaction or what? That's going to be below the rate of inflation. You know what's going to happen. And so, you know, people say, Dave, how do you make a long-term investment today? Hey, right now, the yield on the S&P 500 is about 0.5% more than the yield on the 10-year Treasury. You cannot find a spot in history where if you invested at that point, you didn't ultimately make good money.
Okay, David Dietze likes housing. He thinks it's a bright spot. We'll take it. We're really concentrating on this market and the reaction to the virus and the virus's spread. We have David Dietze still with me here. You're an economist. I shall repeat that. I don't think we're going to get much growth in the American economy in the first quarter, and I think it may bleed over, the slowdown may bleed over to the second quarter. And you say?
Well, I mean, you know, the reason they put economists on Earth was to make astrologers look respectable. That's a Warren Buffett quote. But here's the thing. There's a lot of reasons why this economy is actually going to get pumped up from this crisis. Interest rates and energy prices. So let's look at the interest rates. We've talked about them coming down tremendously. That's going to such a shot in the arm to the refi market, such a shot in the arm to the construction activity. That's one of the big drivers of the U.S. economy. And of course, you know, we focus on the Dow, but in addition to mortgage rates, gas prices. You love gas prices. Gas prices are at record lows. That helps the little guy who's got to, you know, fill up that tank to get to work every day.
Well, they're not at record lows. You're about $2.45 national average. And if oil stays at 50 or $49 a barrel, they're coming down from $2.45.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and if this coronavirus washes on our shores, energy prices are going to come lower. So there's a lot of reasons why people's pocketbooks are really going to be benefited from this. So let's just see what happens. Let's not give up on the GDP yet.
Fair enough. But the overall economy is not going to grow at 2% in the first quarter, now is it?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And in the second quarter?
Well, we'll just see how this plays out in terms of how long and, you know, these lockdowns and headlines keep going. You know, I'm looking at it from an investment point of view, and the stocks are going to go up as long as we start seeing a little bit of improvement. Headlines aren't quite as prevalent as they were the day before. Stocks start to shoot up.
To that point, on refinance, I spoke with a Wall Street analyst yesterday who studies the mortgage markets. We talked about the relationship between treasuries and mortgages. I said, so you think it's an okay time to refinance? He said, yeah, I just did last week on my house. So the guy who watches it
says it all.
Watch what they do, not what to say.
Shah Gilani is still with us, and I know for a fact that he's been listening to all that's being said here. He's still smiling. Now, remember that it was President Trump who a couple of days ago said we want to commit $2.5 billion and plus another $1 billion for a vaccine. I think Ash was right when he said earlier, no matter what the president said, Mr. Schumer would say it's not enough.
Exactly.
And no matter how much the president says, that Mr. Schumer will say it's not enough.
Yeah.
He's hedging his bets.
Of course he is.
You know, if there's a failure down the road, it will be Trump's fault because he didn't spend enough
but it's
money.
still irresponsible in my mind.
Okay, all right, we're up 333 points. You're nodding vigorously, David Dietze.
So the biggest threat to Mr. Trump's reelection was not on the stage last night. It is this coronavirus. So he's got a very tough job. It's going to be so interesting at 6 o'clock tonight because on the one hand, he has to say it's going to be within control, not to panic, but he probably wants to spend $16 billion, twice as much, in order to get the job done. But he doesn't want to advertise that because if people say, I got to stay home, I can't send my kids to school, then we will, in fact, talk ourselves into a recession.
The chief executive of any nation or state is judged by how he or she handles a disaster in their nation or state. And that will be the judgment placed on President Trump, I do believe, because this is a serious outbreak here. Not here, not in the United States, not at this point, but it's a serious outbreak, obviously, in China, Asia, and in the Middle East. What do you make of Bob Iger as an
Don't leave it
executive?
like that.
Well, I think it's tremendous, and I think Lauren just documented the track record. I actually think this is a model transition because he's not walking away, as you pointed out, Stuart. He's staying as the executive chairman. He's going to be still involved, and of course, the new guys coming in. Those parks are fantastic. There are several rides there that they're able to sell independent of getting the all-park pass. And apparently, there's this thing to make saber swords that is sold out already for March. Those parks are unique.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
It's becoming the biggest profit driver at Disney. Soon it will be even bigger than television.